There's so much excitement in the electric car market these days, and make no mistake, there's an electric car revolution taking place. I recently did a video on the stellar looking F-150 Lightning coming in early 22, a really compelling electric pickup truck. And there are dozens of new electric vehicle models hitting the market over the next 12 months. But there's an equally exciting revolution happening in the world of cars: self-driving or autonomous vehicles. I know we've been hearing all sorts of news about self-driving, and it feels like it's constantly been on the horizon here for years now. So how close are we really to fully autonomous vehicles in our daily lives? Let's dig in. So in order to truly understand the context of the task at hand here, living in a world with millions of fully autonomous vehicles, it's a good idea to understand the steps we need to take to get there. The Society of Automotive Engineers has developed a framework for autonomous driving levels. There's technically 6 levels of vehicle autonomy that have been generally accepted by the industry at large. First of all, you have level 0. Yes, that's right, level 0, not 1. Level 0 has been around for more than a century at this point because level 0 has no autonomy. It's essentially the driver doing all of the tasks of driving. Level 1 focuses on driver assistance systems. A good example here is cruise control, which can control the speed of the vehicle, but the driver has to monitor and control everything else. And the driver needs to be ready to hit the brakes if you need to slow down really quickly. Level 2 is called partial automation. There's several systems like this that exist now in production vehicle, like Tesla Autopilot, as well as GM's Super Cruise, which essentially control the steering, acceleration, and deceleration in some circumstances. But this driver is sort of collaboratively driving with the car, often needs to resume control of the vehicle more than once in a single trip. Level 3 is all about conditional automation, meaning that in certain conditions, the automation is essentially full self-driving, meaning the driver doesn't have to control any of the mechanics of actually driving the car. This is because the vehicle is equipped to make decisions on its own, including passing other vehicles. However, the driver must still be ready to take control in a moment's notice. Level 4 is called high automation, and that simply means that there's effectively zero need for human intervention. The vehicle is equipped to handle any situation, even emergency maneuvers if necessary. The key thing here is that it's still only in some scenarios, like inner city driving, where the speed limits aren't too high. And level 5, of course, is full automation, meaning the vehicles can do any type of driving task that a human could do and is equipped to handle any situation in any area on any road. So where are things today? Well, let's take a look at some of the well-known players out there. Let's start with Tesla. Tesla has a software package called Autopilot. This allows the car to steer, accelerate, and brake within its lane, and an optional upgrade allows it to overtake slower cars on the highway and take interchange exits. For years, Tesla has been ahead in a big way when it comes to driver assistance technology, but Autopilot is still firmly in the range of level 2 autonomy because it's really just nice driver assistance features, and drivers often need to take control because the system ends up not being able to understand the data that comes in. In many reviews, people have noted that the car wants to take off ramps too fast and merges onto the highway too late, and just requires quick intervention sometimes. Then there's Tesla's full self-driving beta software. Tesla has much higher ambitions than what it can currently do with Autopilot, as it's well known that they want to be the first company to release level 5 autonomous driving abilities. So in late 2020, Tesla released their full self-driving software as a beta and have since then only let a few thousand hand-picked people actually test it out. The FSD software allows the car to navigate on regular urban roads from start to finish. This is definitely a huge leap forward from the Autopilot software, and it's very impressive if you watch some of the videos available from folks who are testing it out. Tesla has been accepting the beta testers' feedback and has continued to train their machine learning model as well. And they've been steadily releasing new versions of the beta. And while it's very impressive, like I said, in the videos that I watched, the driver has either had to intervene or at least decided to intervene due to their own comfort levels several times while on a relatively short drive. There's a lot of rumors going around that Tesla is about to release version 9.0 of its FSD beta, which is potentially a giant leap forward. So we'll wait and see how that looks. But in its current state, I would say this beta has at least unlocked level 3 autonomous driving in a big way. The car is ready and willing to make any and all decisions, but the decision quality just isn't high enough yet to be fully dependable. Now, traditional automakers are getting involved in autonomous driving too, actually, and that's good. In fact, it's really an expectation. Automakers know that if they can't keep relative pace on this technological trend, they are going to get left behind and ultimately go out of business. Super Cruise from GM is an example of an early frontrunner. It was initially released in 2018 and thus far has only been in Cadillac vehicles, though GM says it's launching the system on 22 other GM vehicles in the next year or so. It's a very different approach from what Tesla's doing because it relies on GM going and essentially mapping the roads ahead of time in a very detailed way. So there's only certain highways you can use it on. That said, it is a decent amount. Over 200,000 miles of highways in the US and Canada are available to be used with Super Cruise. The system uses cameras, LiDAR, GPS, and radar. Industry experts have applauded GM for taking a serious approach to driver attention as well. There's an in-cabin camera that watches the driver. You can take your hands off the wheel, but you must keep your eyes on the road or the system will start to warn you before ultimately disengaging the autonomous driving function. Another contender is on the way though. Ford is iterating on their cruise control system with a new package called Blue Cruise. It's pretty much exactly the same as GM's Super Cruise, but it won't be quite as advanced at first. Ford doesn't have as many highway miles mapped as GM. They only have about 110,000 miles mapped compared to 200,000 from GM. They also don't have the lane change assist, but like GM, you will be able to take your hands off the wheel and the car will be able to drive autonomously on the highway as long as you keep your eyes on the road. Blue Cruise isn't out yet though. It's coming later this year as an over-the-air update for just two vehicles, the new 2021 Ford F-150 and the Mach-E, and it'll cost the owners a hefty $600 to upgrade. Both of these systems from Ford and GM are cool, but they are solidly in the level 2 autonomy. But what about level 4 or level 5? Are there any autonomous systems there yet? Well, there are a few companies that are trying to skip levels 1 through 3 and just go for levels 4 and 5. But they aren't trying to make cars that you buy, they're working on autonomous taxi networks. Here's a few notable examples. Cruise is a company based out of San Francisco that is actually partially owned by GM, Honda, Microsoft, and others. For the past few years, they've been running a robo-taxi service for select folks around the city using highly modified Chevy Bolts. And last year, they announced a soon-to-be-in-production, fully driverless prototype vehicle, the Cruise Origin. It's meant to be fully autonomous as it has no steering wheel or driver's seat. Cruise believes that car ownership will wane as we move forward into the future. So the Origin is meant to be built for an autonomous ride-hailing service. The vehicle uses LiDAR, radar, cameras, and so on to detect what's going on around it and take the best course of action. Earlier this year, Honda announced a partnership with Cruise to bring the Origin to Japan later this year as part of an autonomous transportation as a service initiative, so we could see these vehicles on streets in Japan sooner rather than later. Zoox is actually similar to Cruise because they are also a Bay Area company and they're developing a purely autonomous vehicle for a future robo-taxi network. Zoox was actually acquired in 2020 by Amazon for $1.2 billion. They also have a prototype vehicle that's meant to be a totally different take on the car experience. Currently, they have autonomous testing going on in San Francisco and Las Vegas. Then there's Waymo, an autonomous driving technology company owned by Alphabet, the parent company for Google. Waymo has gone the route of modifying existing vehicles. They currently operate a fully autonomous robo-taxi service in Phoenix, Arizona. Because LiDAR has traditionally been very expensive, Waymo developed its own LiDAR sensors for a fraction of the cost, which will make the tech a lot more scalable. In fact, they have OEM partnerships with Daimler, Nissan, Jaguar, and Volvo for future integrations. Waymo is the only self-driving car company that operates a service without safety backup drivers. This puts them in the level 4 autonomous range because the vehicle can move anywhere around the test market without the need for human intervention. And that's about as advanced as we get. So far, there's no level 5 capable vehicles on the road today. It seems like we're getting closer though every single year, especially over the last 12 months here. I think the two most exciting projects are Waymo's self-driving robotaxi and Tesla's full self-driving beta, because at least these are actively available services and they show a lot of promise. Plus, they are actually taking very different approaches. Waymo uses an advanced mapping of an area plus a multitude of redundant sensors, while Tesla is moving away from sensors and using pure vision machine learning, relying solely on the cameras on the vehicle. Tesla's fans will be quick to point out that Tesla will advance a lot more quickly and sooner due to the millions of Tesla vehicles on the roads all over the world, collecting data and serving as a much larger data set for their modeling. But Waymo has at least beat them to the robo-taxi game and has real vehicles driving people around without a driver. I'm excited to see what happens in the next 1 to 2 years because I think there's going to be a ton of advancements. However, there's also a lot of red tape and regulation that needs to be overcome, and not to mention gaining the public trust. There's going to be a decent lag time between when level 5 autonomy is ready and when it can be fully implemented. Legislators all over the world are going to move at their own pace, slow. And so that's why I would say we're at least 5 years away from readily available level 5 autonomy in any meaningful way, whether it be in your own car or a robotaxi. Still, it's going to be fun to watch all of it unfold. And I truly believe we're in for a brighter future with self-driving vehicles. Our streets will be safer and less congested, and it'll open up a new era of cheap, ubiquitous transportation. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Click that like button if you enjoyed it so that more people can get recommended the content, and subscribe for more Technology Paul. I post new videos every single week. Thanks so much, and we'll see you in the next one.